I never thought I would be the person to ruin a neighborhood tradition. But when I saw a grown woman snatch an Easter basket out of a 7-year-old boy's hands just because his clothes were frayed, something inside me snapped. You need to tell me right now, was I wrong for recording the entire confrontation and sending it to the school board? Or would you have let a child cry in the dirt just to keep the peace with the neighborhood elites? I was standing there, holding my own camera, watching this little boy named Leo look down at his empty hands while the neighborhood committee told him he didn't belong at the hunt because his parents hadn't paid the $100 participation fee. That wasn't even an official rule. I want you to listen to what happened, and tell me if you would have stayed silent while a group of wealthy parents treated a child like he was invisible. It all started about 3 weeks ago when our neighborhood association announced the annual Golden Egg Gala. Now, I've lived in this cul-de-sac for 5 years, and usually the Easter egg hunt is just a casual thing where kids run around the park, find some plastic eggs with jelly beans, and everyone goes home happy. But this year, a new woman named Brenda moved in, and she decided she was the self-appointed queen of the community. Brenda is the kind of person who measures the height of your grass with a ruler and sends emails to the entire street if your trash can is left out for 5 minutes past noon. She took over the Easter planning and turned it into this exclusive, high-end event. She started posting on our private Facebook group about maintaining the prestige of the neighborhood and insisted that we needed to hire professional decorators, a gourmet catering service for the parents, and buy high-quality prizes like tablets and designer gift cards to put inside the eggs. To fund this, she demanded $100 per child. I thought it was ridiculous and told her so, but the other parents, not wanting to look poor or cheap in front of her, just went along with it. The atmosphere in the neighborhood changed almost overnight. It went from being a friendly place to a high-stakes competition of who could spend the most on pastel-colored outfits. Brenda even started a VIP prep list, where she publicly listed the families who had paid, effectively shaming anyone whose name wasn't on the list. I saw mothers whispering at the bus stop, looking at their phones, and then glancing at the families who hadn't contributed yet. It was toxic. Then there was Leo. Leo lives in the small apartment complex just on the edge of our school district, which technically puts him in our neighborhood zone. His mom works 2 jobs, often pulling double shifts at the hospital as a nurse's aide. And Leo is the sweetest kid you'll ever meet, always helping people carry groceries or waving at the mailman. He had been talking about this Easter hunt for a month. He'd saved up his own allowance, literally nickels and dimes he found or earned from chores, to buy a little plastic bucket from the dollar store. He was so proud of that green bucket. On the morning of the event, the park looked like a movie set. There were white tents, professional photographers, and thousands of eggs hidden in the manicured grass. Brenda was walking around with a literal clipboard and a velvet rope at the entrance of the public park area they had reserved. She had hired 2 private security guards, yes, for a neighborhood egg hunt, to stand at the perimeter. Leo showed up early, wearing his best outfit, a slightly faded polo shirt and clean sneakers, clutching his little green bucket with a huge smile on his face. He walked up to the gate, his eyes wide with wonder at the decorations, and before he could even step onto the grass, Brenda stepped in his way like a nightclub bouncer. I thought about Leo's mom, probably exhausted from a night shift, thinking her son was having the best day of his life, while in reality, he was being treated like a second-class citizen by a woman whose only achievement was being loud and mean. So before I tell you exactly how I took Brenda down, and the absolute chaos that followed at the neighborhood meeting, I want you to stop right now. Pause and go to the comments. If you saw a child being barred from a public park event because they were too poor, would you have stepped in and paid the fee? Or would you have done what I did and burnt the whole system down? I really want to know if you think Brenda had a right to protect the event she paid for, or if she's as heartless as I think she is. Do you believe that exclusive means you can exclude children from public land? After I saw her take that bucket, I didn't just stand there. I walked over, pulled my phone out, and started recording. I asked Brenda to repeat exactly what she just said to Leo. She got all flustered, trying to cover the camera with her clipboard, but I kept it steady, moving around her to get a clear shot of Leo's tear-stained face. I told her that this was a public park, and she had no legal right to cordon off a public space and charge admission. She started screaming about event permits and private property rights, which was a total lie because I had checked with the city council the day before. I knew for a fact they only had a gathering permit, not an exclusivity permit. I looked at Leo, told him to go pick up his bucket and ignore this woman, and told him to go find the biggest eggs he could see. Brenda tried to grab his arm to stop him, and that's when I lost it. I stepped between them and told her in a voice that carried across the entire park that if she touched that child, I would call the police and show them the footage of her harassing and physically restraining a minor. She backed off, her face twisting in rage, but she spent the rest of the hour whispering to the other parents, pointing at me and Leo like we were some kind of infection. She actually tried to get the security guards to remove us, but when they saw I was filming and heard me mention the police, they suddenly found reasons to look at their shoes. Leo, God bless him, was hesitant at first, but I walked with him for the first few minutes, encouraging him. As the hunt went on, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Brenda kept making loud comments about some people having no shame and ruining the quality of the hunt for everyone else. But the story doesn't end there. The climax happened during the trophy ceremony at the end of the afternoon. Brenda had hidden a special diamond egg, a large glittery prop that contained a $500 gift card to the local mall and a new tablet. This was the prize everyone wanted. Guess who found it? Lang. He found it tucked deep inside a hollow log near the creek, a spot that the rich kids were too afraid to get their designer clothes dirty to check. When Leo walked up to the podium to claim his prize, holding that sparkling egg like it was a holy relic, Brenda refused to give it to him. She stood on the stage, adjusted the microphone so everyone could hear, and announced that the prize was only for registered participants, and that since Leo hadn't paid the fee, the prize would be forfeited to the runner-up, who just happened to be her own daughter, Chloe. The crowd actually went silent. You could feel the collective gasp. Even the parents who usually sucked up to Brenda looked uncomfortable. It was too blatant, too cruel. I didn't wait for her to finish her little victory speech. I walked right up to the stage, held my phone up high like a beacon, and told everyone that I had recorded the entire morning. I played back the audio of her telling Leo he didn't belong because of his clothes. I told them that if Leo didn't get that prize right then and there, the video was going straight to the local news, the police department for illegal solicitation of funds on public property, and the school board where Brenda serves as a community liaison. I told her, let's see how the school board feels about their liaison bullying underprivileged students in her spare time. You could have heard a pin drop. Brenda's face went from pale to a deep, bruised purple. She looked around for support, but Sarah and the other moms were looking away, suddenly very interested in their manicures. She realized she was completely alone. She tried to bluster her way out of it one last time, saying I was harassing her and making a scene. But I just hit the upload button on the draft I had prepared for the neighborhood Facebook group. Eventually, with her hands shaking, she practically threw the gift card and the tablet at Leo and stormed off the stage, nearly tripping over her own heels. The aftermath was even better than the confrontation itself. The video I took went viral in our local community group within 2 hours. By that evening, other parents started coming forward, saying they felt pressured into paying the $100 and hadn't seen a single receipt for the catering or decorators. It turned out Brenda had actually embezzled over $2,000 of the participation fees to pay for her own family's private Easter brunch at a country club and to hire a personal photographer for her daughter's Instagram. The gourmet catering at the park had been mostly donated by local businesses who thought it was a charity event. She was forced to resign from the neighborhood committee in disgrace. The school board didn't just ignore it, either. They removed her from her liaison position, citing a violation of community ethics. She ended up putting her house on the market and moving away 3 months later, because nobody would even wave to her at the mailbox anymore. She became a pariah in the very prestige she tried to create. Leo's mom was overwhelmed when she found out. She tried to return the prize to me, but I told her it belonged to Leo fair and square. She used that gift card to buy him all his school supplies for the next year, a brand new bike, and she even had enough left over to take a weekend off to spend with him. The neighborhood now has a strictly free, community-funded Easter hunt every year, and we make sure every kid from the nearby apartments is the first to be invited. I learned that day that sometimes you have to be the difficult person the one who makes things awkward. To make sure a child doesn't lose their faith in human kindness. Silence is just another way of being an accomplice to a bully. Looking back, I don't regret a single second of the drama I caused or the bridge I burned with Brenda. That little boy's smile when he realized people were actually on his side, that he wasn't invisible, was worth more than any prestigious neighborhood reputation. It's crazy how some people think money gives them the right to gatekeep joy, but I'm glad I was there to remind Brenda that a public park belongs to the public, not just the people with the biggest houses and the loudest voices. It's a lesson the whole neighborhood won't forget anytime soon. Every time I see Leo riding his new bike past my house, I'm reminded that standing up for what's right is always worth the social cost. Like this video if you were on my side and think Leo deserved that win more than anyone. Subscribe for more stories like this where the neighborhood Karens finally get what's coming to them and justice is served in the most satisfying way possible. Share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. Do you think I should have just paid his fee and kept it quiet to avoid the scene? Or was the public call out the only way to stop someone like Brenda? I'll see you all in the next story.